Welcome, everybody, to this wonderful session. I'm very, very happy that I have Billy on the end of the line here. Now, Billy, I think you're like a very rare breed in the AI space. I think you're super creative, and I think you've also been around for a while, and you've been playing around with these tools for a super long time. How would you describe yourself in this industry to people? What's your job?
What's my job? Well, that's a great question. I mean, I kind of made up my own job, which is a privilege to have. So, right now I'm a business owner. I started out as kind of a freelancer doing full-time AI in 2024. And that's just been kind of, as we talked about, on an ascending path to God knows where. But I've been around in the sense that I started tinkering with Midjourney mid-2023. I worked at an AI startup at the time. And as a happenstance, I might share those later, but I've been experimenting and posting lots of spec ads and stuff that maybe for the time, at least, had a little bit of a higher bar in terms of art direction and what I call kind of cinematic AI or whatever terminology you want to talk about. But and all of a sudden I have secret level, media monks, all kinds of people up in my inbox. So I was early, no doubt about it. I was early and I was managing to stand out a little bit in the sense that a lot of people, and some still are doing the AI slop thing where he's kind of lazy. There's nothing to it. There's not any real, and we can talk about that, what makes a great image, what makes a great video, what makes something interesting to look at. So I was early and I tapped into something that really worked for me. And hopefully I can share some tips and concrete examples of how that worked for me.
Yeah, interesting. So go back to 2024, right? So did you actually start making money with AI at that time? What point did it get to a point for you where you were like, okay, this is now a career, you see opportunity here? What was that moment for you?
Yeah, Jesus. Well, so I took the leap because basically the AI startup I was at were pivoting into something different, going from kind of consumer facing products to B2B chatbots, which was not something I wanted to do. So we kind of parted ways. And as a pure happenstance, I was not with a deliberate plan, let's get signed, I had seen that Dave Clark and some of these very prominent names were at secret level. And what is that? And, media monks were doing this thing called artist monks for AI artists. All this stuff was just really, really early on. This is January 2024, which feels like ages ago, and it started pretty rapidly right away, did media monks gigs, secret level gigs, started to build my audience similar to you. So that's been my primary funnel for reaching out, and LinkedIn has been what's worked for me mainly. But yeah, I could support myself on an okay freelance income. And we've been able to scale that to a legitimate business now. So we're taking on interns next year for the first time and seeing where we can kind of scale this. So yeah, but I did a bunch of work with Media Monks, Valentine's Whiskey, did secret level, Intel, a bunch of these really early projects with Dave, and yeah, this kind of first cohort of people that are now in, Verena is at Luma, doing his thing. David Bianca is doing Grail. So a lot of these very dear names that we had very cool conversations with early 2024, I'm now gone off to do some pretty big things. Cool to be a part of.
And do you think building those relationships in the industry has played a big impact in where you are right now? Because we actually did a podcast with Linus Eckenstam, and that whole podcast was based around relationships and building relationships. I know the power of relationships in this industry right now because we're still in an industry that's finding its feet. And what advice would you give to people who were looking to build meaningful relationships? Because I feel like the AI scene had a foundation, and that foundation was around that time period where you were having these conversations with all these people. And it's now at this phase one, in my opinion. We're at phase one, and it's a very different landscape, and it's getting bigger from what it was before. So it was quite easy for you and I to make connections with other AI people because it was so small. But now more mainstream people are getting involved. What do you think is a good way that other people can make relationships in this space?
I can only agree. With Linus, fellow Swede, so shout out to Linus.
Yeah.
But totally, relationships both with individual creators, but people also on the kind of client side. So I think that's super important, building client relations. Again, something we can talk at length about, becoming like a reliable media partner or whatever you want to become with them, because like we all want repeatable business, like not just chasing clients all the time. So but I can only concur. We it started off very small, very nerdy internet kind of bubble before Gen HQ. There were no communities. It was Bandaco and these Discord servers and Reddit forums, these like more obscure parts of the internet, right? But I can totally not we should not underestimate the power of relationships in multiple ways. How to get relationships? Well, I can start with what not to do. It is not to DM random people and say, hey, please like my post and share it and comment it. And that is very spammy, and you will more likely alienate the people you want to connect with rather than form any meaningful relationship with them. So how to do it? Many have talked about this. Alex Hormozy and many provide value first. If you want to get in touch with someone, ask them how you can kind of help, or ask, at least genuinely interesting questions that like shows that you're not just spamming, spraying and praying. It's not a tactic. So that's what not to do. I mean, and just like people's content, comment, sneak up in the DMs, and if you do really good work, other creators will also get in touch with you. I mean, if I see someone, that was great, connect, all the time. So.
Yeah. And some advice that a lot of people in Gen HQ who are, potentially, maybe they're looking to start making their first dime with AI, or maybe they've landed 2-3 projects, or they've done a project and they're looking to try and find more clients and get more under their belt. One piece of advice, and I'd love your feedback on this because it's always up for interpretation. One piece of advice that we do give to people is LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is such a powerful platform to find work. And there's 2 strategies that we tell people to do, and would love your kind of feedback on both, because I'd be curious to know whether or not you've done both of them. One is to create your content, your spec work, and post it on LinkedIn. And that is like organic, right? It's organically, you're posting it, you're growing your presence online. People are appreciating your work and they're resonating with it and connecting with you as a digital artist. That is like a passive way that you can get clients to come to you, which is the best way, in my opinion, and also a great way that you'll be able to potentially even negotiate higher rates and things like that. But the other option is, let's say, right, Billy, your life depended on it. You had to make $5,000 in the next month, right? You had to find a client to do some creative AI work. My recommendation is that, in the same way that Alex Hormozy recommends you to do so much volume that it's implausible that you will not succeed, is to find decision makers at companies, small to medium-sized businesses, create like 4 or 5 images in their brand tone and brand style, send it to them and be like, hey, here is my Calendly. If you want to get on a call, let's get on a call and let's talk about what like creative AI solutions we can offer for your company. Find a retainer package, boom, like get going. Have you heard of people doing that? Have you ever done something like that that's led to work? What's your strategy to bring in clients?
I can only concur. I mean, Alex Hormozy, become undeniable. That's just like tattooed on the back. Just like become undeniable. Still on the agenda though. So we're working on that. But 100%, I mean, what you're describing is, and essentially make it extremely easy for people to work with you.
Yeah.
That's what, don't make people look for your content, have either website, be present on all socials, make it extremely easy. And then the work has to be exceptional as well, because it's going to be harder and harder to stand out in 2026. And again, something we can talk about. But that kind of cold outreach, I love that, and that's something we're going to do more of, because you could argue like, but I already have great work. Yes, but clients doesn't have any imagination, and although you're doing great, I don't know, pharmaceutical ads, but I don't know, Instax is a camera company. They can't, even though you're doing realistic, I don't know, cinematic great work with your pharmaceutical ads, Instax will look for stuff that feels familiar to them. So something cameras, or bad example, maybe you get the idea. You have to be very targeted when you do that. So either you have a portfolio with every niche possible, or that you're interested in, which is probably not a great idea. But these bespoke kind of little mini projects you're describing, we have done similar things. Usually it's been agencies actually coming to us. We've been having a huge privilege of being early, that it's just like people come to us, and that's a privilege. But like, hey, can you help us make X assets for I don't know, skincare brand. This I did literally last week. It's like, and this is part of the natural cycle of advertising, pitching. The entire industry is just pitching. But a lot of people, this discussion about paid and unpaid work and this stuff, like the amount of unpaid work I've done to secure them, because you do a lot of misses, but then eventually you do a home run. And you have to invest in those missed, the missed hits to get that home run or the slam dunk. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree with both options. Ideally, do both. Obviously, if you have to have, save your mother with $5,000 or whatever, maybe the cold outreach, because like the organic, it takes longer to kind of be picked up by the algorithm, post consistently, blah blah blah, all this stuff. So I would find like 3 or 5 niches. Niches as in industries. I don't know, pharmaceutical, skincare, something else, and find those people. I mean, people don't know this. You go on LinkedIn, you go on the company, you go on Vodafone, then you go on people, and you search for either like marketing manager, something else like that. That's a key decision maker. If you don't know those names, ask ChatGPT, ask Gemini, whatever. They can give you the entire list, and there you have them straight up on LinkedIn, because that's the beauty of LinkedIn is like you said, a very powerful platform. I prefer over X and Instagram, because you tend to end up in these, filtered DMs, so you don't your message never gets read. With LinkedIn though, you have a chance of actually being noticed, so you can truly reach out to people, and if you present them an offer in there, like right in the DM, like here's my calendar, here's some great stuff I did with your brand, chances are you might just get the call.
And let's talk about pitching yourself. So like, how do you, and like, so do you want to tell us a little more about like, so you said that you've got your company at the moment. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that, and then how you guys are pitching yourselves to clients?
Sure. Well, so at the moment it's like Billy Boman AI Productions. Felt cute might change name later, who knows? But like it's me and my girlfriend. We're running the studio together with a pool of freelancers from the community. Actually, some ex-students, because I also teach. So the ones with a big freelance appetite tend to come to us. So that's been super fortunate and fun, kind of have the talent funnel there. So very, very fortunate. But we work with a bunch of agencies, production houses, but also are securing more and more and more direct-to-client relationships, which is great. Everything from the biggest beverage company in the world, which I cannot name, but also, big airlines to noodle I mean, it's all over the place, and that's what's also so exciting and so cool. I mean, I could hit up the reel or whatever if people want to see that as a kind of example of what we do, if that's valuable.
Yeah,
I'll link it maybe.
Should we have a look?
Yeah, sure.
Damn, that reel was hot.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I mean, like having a reel is pretty good, like short and sweet, because then without even having a bespoke client project, you can just shoot that in a DM, and that's it. You can start kind of leading early with that in conversations.
Yeah.
But long story short, been doing a lot of agency work in production houses who need help with AI, either as like a production partner or helping to educate. Very much less of that in 25, and especially won't hardly be anything in 26, I think, to now also actually, and we can dig into that project later, but working actually with AI companies, doing their marketing with them, which I think is a very fascinating trend in the industry, because that's like, to me, I think the natural next cycle of creative partnership programs, because what they get is that they have super users, and if they really know their way around the model, and then you can leverage that kind of pool of users in an interesting way. So I mean, we have one with Luma. They sent us to Cannes earlier, and we've done a lot of great projects with them. And I recently did a video with them to kind of tap them more into the agency space with creative work. So that's been really cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've not even thought about
it, but there's another company as well. But yeah, sorry, it's a bit of a lag.
Yeah, it's okay. I was just going to say that, like, I've not really thought about that kind of model like that in terms of doing AI work for AI companies. I mean, we've been recommending people to, because a lot of people say, like, you know, what niche should I go into? Because, like, you know, you say the skincare, there's this, that, the other. I think a lot of people get this state of paralysis when they start and arrive at AI and creative AI industry, because opportunities are endless, and people kind of freeze and they go, well, hold on a minute. Like, I've just signed up to Gen HQ, but like, I don't even know what I want to do. You know, like, what creativity, like what opportunity is out there for me? So it could be quite interesting just to kind of run through some areas, you know, what industry, I mean, to be honest, you and I both know it's like every industry needs marketing work. Every industry needs this kind of, you know, every industry needs content. But like, what opportunities in terms of new jobs, new things have you kind of seen rising up through the ranks as like this industry has started to evolve?
Yeah, I mean, on the first note, which I fully sympathize with, I mean, I've been doing creative work for 15 years. I come more from design than actually like film or commercial directing. But so I know myself very well as a creative, but people new to the field don't. And that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine, and that's how it should be. And I actually wrote down some points before this, just stuff I would want to highlight. And one of them relating to what you said is a Swedish saying which goes something like "dig where you stand." Dig where you stand, meaning, what should I pick? Well, what are you interested in? Like, you will have a natural insight into, if example, let's say you're female, you're a Gen Z, and you're extremely into skincare. Well, there you go, right there. Apply your AI skill set to that. Or if you're a, I don't know, 45-year-old guy, you're super into gaming. Well, there you go. You have a wealth of knowledge and industry kind of expertise although you might not have worked with it, but just the fact that it's like a field of interest to you. So dig where you stand. It's like I would, rather than being deer in headlights, of course you could go after just where it feels like it's the most, I don't know, financially lucrative. However, other people will do that as well, so it could saturate quickly. And the advantage you'd have if it's something you're genuinely interested in is that you won't get tired of it.
Yes.
You just do it while other people, skincare is so boring, I'll go do something else. You can just keep doing it, and become that undeniable, I mean, within the niche, which is a huge niche, by the way, skincare or makeup or whatever it is. So
I always phrased it as becoming the guy. Like, so this is completely bizarre and somewhat off topic, but like it all relates, because prior to creative AI education, I used to have a live streaming platform where I used to live stream myself sleeping, which was like a very weird niche that I fell into in my early 20s. And I wanted to become the guy who did that. And I was like, I'm going to do it so often. And I did it for 2 years, every Saturday, until I was known as the guy who sleeps, and like people can donate money and interact with smart objects in my bedroom. And I became the guy, right? And when I went into the creative AI industry, I wanted to become the guy for creative AI education. And I think that like in any niche that you go into, if you're looking to like master it, you have to become the guy. And that guy is gender fluid, right? It's like you have to become the reliable source, the best in the business. What is it that you think makes somebody the best in a certain AI niche right now? Why would somebody go to Billy over someone else?
Well, there's so many great names out there right now. There's just going to become more of them. But for example, take someone like Simon Meyer. Like, you know, he's just like, I think as far as AI ads go, he's like the GOAT.
Yeah.
My personal opinion.
Yeah.
He thought I was an old DOP, so I take that as a huge compliment. So straight up cool guy. But I mean, in that way, the proof is in the pudding, and he's done the organic route, and he's leveraging his commercial director experience, where the overlap is so obvious. But everyone doesn't have that experience. So it's like, I love also that Alex Hormozi quote when people ask like really successful people like Jeff Bezos or like how did you do it? Well, it's like you will never be able to fully reverse engineer, replicate there, because like he was at the right time, doing the right thing, took huge bets, took huge swings, which were extremely specific to his environment, time, everything. And it's a bit like, this is how I won the lottery.
Yeah.
And it's in a way useless information, because you cannot apply it to your own life, right? Like,
right.
So far apart. Like, yeah, I'm not a commercial director, so what am I supposed to do? So to go back to your question, what makes someone stand out? Well, the one thing, the proof is in the pudding, the work. Everything else is kind of distractions in a way, like the work, the actual videos or images that you post. But there is a slight nuance to that, is that also the best one isn't always the one who gets seen. There's a ton of people out there, grifters, just repost other people's content, and they get huge views. So the world is not always fair in that regard also. So both are true at the same time, like that you have to have great work, but you also sometimes have to get eyeballs on that work. And I mean, you have done this much more successfully than I have, for example, leveraging social media and building a huge audience. We have, captured a small sliver of your success, but it's enough. I mean, it's truly enough for us more than enough to scale a business sustaining several people. So, I mean, something that popped into my mind now is from a friend called Sebastian Martinez, and he talks about this in a live net. I mean, when you're on live events, when you talk to people, that he always purposely peacocks. He wears something that, I mean, all stylish and good, but it's like he always stands out in the crowd. I was at an event at Soho House here in Stockholm earlier, and he had this big furry jacket, and he also has these big, very pronounced black glasses, and everyone like, you will remember the guy in the furry jacket. So it's a bit on your point, like becoming the guy. But I guess what I'm talking about is in the sense of like how you brand yourself online. And a lot of people have talked at length, much better than I have, about how to develop an online persona, how to develop your own tone of voice, and all this stuff, like which you could and should do to kind of stand out like that. People then will be more interested in what you have to say, and you become the guy or girl or the person within. So a little bit of a rant, but hopefully something in there.
Yeah, no, definitely. We have also, just for the viewers watching, we also have obviously done a module on personal branding, which is like a 2-hour long piece, which is literally just how you can stand out, how you can find your own voice, how you can, when it comes to personal branding, you're absolutely right. The unique thing that I'm going to try and like extract some things from your answer. I think that like the reason why someone would go to Billy for work is because there is one Billy, and like there is no one else who is, has had this culmination of life experiences that have got you to the point that you are at right now. No one else has the same inspirations that you've had in the same way and in the same order that you've had. And all of these things have built you to the person that you are now and the creative that you are right now. And I think that when it comes to personal branding, your personal brand should elevate that version of you and all these like happy mistakes that have happened in your life to create the person that you are right now, your personality. They all come through in your personal brand. And I just think that when companies are going to decide whether or not they're going to work with, Billy over here or Rourke over here, a lot of it will come down to, the creative and, what they're able to put together for their portfolio. And it kind of leads me on to portfolio building, because do you think your social media and your personal brand acts as your portfolio? Or do you have a website? Obviously your show reel kind of shows that, but do you how would you go about showing off a portfolio nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, great question. And in one aspect, yes, your social media is your portfolio. I mean, we have a lot more, impressions on LinkedIn and Instagram than on the website, although the website is kind of like deeper in the funnel, you could say. So at the top here, you have LinkedIn and Instagram and everything. And the ones who are really, really, really keen on working with you, they will go to the website, or some might actually decide even before, if you think about like a classic marketing funnel. So ideally have both. If you have to choose, maybe LinkedIn or Instagram, at least Instagram. So as like a, not, so it's not just a feed, but rather like, here's a grid with your selected pieces of work, and curate those really well. So it's like the best stuff, I'd say, at least Instagram. LinkedIn and Instagram are very different in how they work, I'd say. So yeah, I mean, and then if you have time, invest in a website. It's easier than ever. You can vibe code it, Webflow, Framer, like a decent CMS, or you could hire someone to do it as well. But otherwise, you get a really, really good site for like $100.
Yeah. And are there any people's like Instagram that you kind of want to shout out and be like, this person does like a really good job for, like, more specifically for like creatives in the industry who want to put their work out there to, try and, let's say they're casting their net each time they post a piece of content to try and like attract new clients. Is there anyone out there that you think's doing a particularly good job that other people can go and look at and be like, yeah, do you know what they're doing is really cool. I like what they're doing as well. I'm going to go and do something similar. If you're enjoying this podcast so far, then you're going to love Gen HQ. We have 20 more of these interviews with industry professionals and CEOs and founders of the top creative AI companies, where you can learn directly from the very best in the industry. And we actually pay these creatives $1,000 an hour for their time to deliver this education to you. We're committed to giving you the highest degree of education in the market. We also have 40 hours of educational material that you can learn to help elevate you and become a top 1% in the industry right now. So if you're looking to take creative AI seriously and turn it into a professional career, you can join Gen HQ, and it's the first link in the description. We actually ranked number 4 out of 180,000 communities on the platform and number 1 in the tech space this quarter. So if you want to go and learn why we are ranked number 1 in the tech space, then you can click the first link in the description. I'll see you there.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, like, Instagram is not my main platform. That's not where I hang out the most. But if some that come to mind is AI Sam. I mean, like, huge name, incredible guy. Like, he has some stellar work. So for him, it's like, he has some extremely good pastries to pick to put into his little bakery storefront, so to say. And I guess Simon Meyer has another great one. I mean, PJ Ace does a good job as well. Dave Clark. I mean, the big ones. They're all very different. They all have different niches. But like, it's not that much. You can have a nice profile picture, have a good bio, have links in the bio, and have, I don't know, the best pieces of work visible in the grid, I suppose. I mean, again, I'll very much refrain from like Instagram specifics, because I'll admit it's my main. But one tip I could give on Instagram is actually the paid ads work really well.
Yeah,
like, we've been starting experimenting with not only like relying on organic, but like doing some paid ads, and damn, that's really impressive, because I never really was in the space of running social ads or anything. So much better than LinkedIn in just our subjective experience. So that's something, if you have a little bit of a splash, you can get very qualified leads that way.
Interesting. So, and that's for trying to capture new leads, like new clients. So like, what do you think, if people also wanted to go away and start doing that, what do you think that they should, what kind of ads do you think they should make? Are they, just sharing their show reel, or like, how should, what should they be doing to try and like find new leads and new clients with meta ads as an example?
Exactly. That's what we did. We just like, now we have the show reel. Let's try to get it, and it picked up well organically. But what can we do with it on paid? We leveraged LinkedIn and Instagram, and Instagram was just like so much better for the same. We spent like $100 or something, very much. But like over like, I don't know, 250 followers who are all extremely niche, like people in commercial advertising, film in London, Amsterdam, Paris, Los Angeles, the big cities, where the big production houses and agencies are. So I would say that's pretty much money well spent, and it has led to some concrete. I haven't asked them why they came, but like you could see an uptick in certain emails that come through.
Interesting. And I also want to talk about the industry right now. And we kind of just spoke about this in the green room before we started recording very briefly. And I wanted to save the conversation for this moment right now, because I feel like the Q4 has been the craziest time. It's weird. It's like it finally feels like we've arrived. Like Q4 feels like we've arrived at like the the point at where people are actually paying attention to this industry. And it's, for me, it was the release of Nano Banana and other flagship video models. VO3 was pretty groundbreaking, but like it was still, a bit rough and ready, but it's just improving. And I think like now that imagery is in such a good place with Nano Banana Pro, that the industry for me has completely shifted. And now it's like education doesn't necessarily need to be about specific models anymore. Education really needs to be about learning the DNA and the makeup of what makes good content. So do you want to touch on, where are we at in the creative AI industry right now? What are your thoughts on it? What are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen in terms of uptake? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, big rabbit hole. And I can only agree. I mean, Gabe Michael had a great video where he talks about prediction for 2026, and that's like AI video is going to grow up, and that's summarizes really well. It's maturing in all kinds of ways with like commercial licenses for enterprise, with indemnification and all these things on the legal side, which for us who works in the commercial space, it's always a big topic. But I wrote down some points ahead of this, and I guess like to your point about education is not necessarily about how to put together a super annoying comfy UI workflow just to make someone stand exactly like this. That's gone. We kind of Stephen Bartlett, the Diary of a CEO, he wrote a really good mini PDF earlier this year. This was even, I think, pre Nano Banana Pro, or it was pre Nano Banana Pro, but like maybe Nano Banana, I can't remember. But it's called Your Moat is Dead, or Your Moat is Gone. I can see if I can link it, but your moat, that's in the the water around the castle. Yeah, it's gone. So, and what it means is that very soon, or already now, everything that's nothing is technically hard anymore. Sure, we cannot get the same, I don't know, drone shots flying around something as a VFX shot. There's a live action still looks much, much better. We don't have 4K, etc. But slowly and slowly and slowly, AI is chipping away at those kind of unique points. So, within our lifetime, within 5 years, potentially, it's not if, it's when. Like it will be indistinguishable, truly indistinguishable from, like absolute VFX nerds looking at it and they can't tell the difference. We're not there yet, but very soon. So going the route of like my moat is that I'm technical. Well, cool, okay, maybe not the best long-term strategy. So what I'm really passionate about is what I call the difference that makes the difference. And that's like speaking if we talk about ads here and advertising, that's kind of a box. Film is something different, and just different boxes, so to say. But like speaking the language of advertising and like truly understanding the business and the craft that goes into it. And with craft, it doesn't necessarily mean comfy UI, super complicated workflows. They are around and they can do amazing things when you need them. But like all you need is free pick, honestly. Like all you need is free pick to do everything, or one of these third-party platforms. And what I mean by the difference that makes the difference is also why I have these lying here. So this is also like Ogilvy on advertising, classic book. What the point of showing these is, don't, for people who want to get into the field, don't just look at AI. Go touch some grass and look around in the world. There's incredible books from people, Hegarty, like people in the advertising. Another one I love is Do the Fucking Work. It's just this like highbrow advice for measure twice, cut fucking once. It's just this incredible book. But like, or if you want to be like really concrete, like How To by Michael Beirut, which is like just filled with incredible graphic design. I just sit on a ton of incredible references, because like basically what's happening, like you said in the beginning, you're kind of the sum of your references in a way. Like I have an art school education, I worked in design and fashion and all kinds of weird stuff. So I'm like an amalgamation of all of that. And that's what's truly going to set you apart. And like if you don't have that, you kind of have to start. Like honestly, you have to start going to museums, photo exhibitions, watch a ton of film. Try to find the difference that makes the difference, and that's like a 1 million little things. I think one of the most slept on one is music. Like fucking everything. Try watching Terminator 2 without sound. Like okay. And I think another one, like Happy Accident. I played guitar since I was 12. That's why there's a guitar over there. And I mean, I went to music gymnasium. So when you're 16 to 18 or 19 in Sweden. And I played like drums, guitar, was in the choir, hated that, but whatever. So it's like, all of these things have, in a very happy accident way, led me to where I am today. And now at the ripe age of 39, I can finally have fun with it. More to my own, detriment. I mean, that was my own fault. I was employed for 15 years and I hated it. Like now, I feel like I'm truly, then to your point as well, like the industry that I'm in, put myself in, is flourishing. So it's a lot of happy accidents that I'm extremely grateful for. Okay, long side rant there, but yeah, I think we're on to something.
Yeah, it's like, for me, I remember very specifically having a phone call with PJ Ace. I want to say it was about 3 months ago now. And I might have referenced this in other people's podcasts, but never on my own. That in this phone call, it'll be a phone call that I remember forever, for my entire life. And basically, I remember having this call with PJ 3 months ago. And we were talking about the industry. And I think Sora 2 had just kind of come out, and I was like, PJ, are you worried? Like, are you nervous? Like, this is like scary even for AI creatives. Like, we've got a whole video model here that can like cut, sequence, sound effect, lip sync. Like, it's chaotic. It's like chaos, but it's something, and it's like doing everything. And he was like, yeah, like this is scary. Like, this is, we have to pay attention to this. And we then use this analogy of like this tsunami that is just about to come crashing down on the advertising industry that I think is already, it's already crashed now. Yeah. But like 3 months ago, we were kind of having this conversation, and it was like the wave was forming, but like it felt like there was this huge tsunami coming, and everyone knew it was coming, but no one was really talking about it. Like, and there was about 5,000 people in the world at that point. This is like 6 months ago, maybe, who were actually taking AI seriously, like on the creative side, actually delivering client work, and are already ahead of the game, delivering that AI client work. And the reason why I say all this is because I feel like the state of where the industry is right now is that tsunami has crashed, and like we are now in a position where we have to rebuild, and we are now rebuilding this industry from the ground up, because we can create whatever we want. Anything is achievable. Like, it just takes like problem solving, and AI tools now is like, okay, I need to plug and play this image model because it's best in class for this. I need to plug and play this video model because the training data in that video model is better for like, more complex movements and sports or whatever it may be. And like, I'm then going to upscale here, and I'm going to color grade over here. Like it's this, to use the word amalgamation again, it's an amalgamation of skills, which you are like problem solving to get the result that you want. But you're right, there is no excuse anymore that like we can create anything. And that is so overwhelming. And AI advertising is everywhere now. It is everywhere. And it is like, whether people like it or not, it's cheaper, it's quicker, it's, more effective, and businesses are paying attention. And, every company in the world is going to want AI advertising because of scale. And to add to this and to kind of throw it back to you, I want to ask, the state of advertising that we're in right now is that we will create, a client may come to us, say, hey, I want an advert for anywhere between 5 to 25, 50 grand, right? Whatever it may be. And, you can create that ad for them, but we can now create hundreds of variations of that advert, right? And like, there's only like 1% of people actually doing that right now in the AI space. Like, everyone's making AI ads, but not many people are offering that like extra thing where it's like, yeah, we could make the ad for you, but we could also make 100 variations as well. So like, for me, if I had like an agency right now, I'd also be looking at what extra offerings can I give people right now, and like offering that, they'd be like, well, that's fucking brilliant. Like, sure, we'll add on like an extra 2.5 grand, 5 grand if you could do that. Like, if it's quick and easy. But like with Kling01, you can make these changes. So like, where do you think the advertising industry is going to go? What offerings are you offering to people? Is it single ads? Is it retainer-based videos? How are you structuring these deals with companies?
Yeah, I mean, great question. And it's an observant with what you described is localization is the word for it, right? Like you have cross market, Middle East, Australia, North America, whatever, and that is everything from ethnicities to lip sync. So we've done actually a ton of work for Procter and Gamble recently, which are doing some huge strides in the Middle East because a lot is happening there on many fronts, which is exciting. But that's I think as a core kind of business proposal, that is every marketing executive will understand that, like, oh, we can shoot this once and then adopt assets they already have. TVC is already made, so we're actually doing that as well. And so definitely, I think that's if you learn how to do that, there's a lot of ifs and buts. And what works and what might not work that we can talk about another time. But I think it's also an interesting time right now where clients are, as you said, just discovering that, like, oh, it's actually looking good now. They're taking it seriously. With that, unfortunately, comes, there's still a knowledge gap, though, that like clients are here over here. That clients like, oh, like the output looks like a camera. It must work like a camera. Kinda not. It's kind of like a new medium, actually. But sure, output looks like a camera. And that tends to put clients in this mental box of like, let's replicate what a camera does. They have not truly, peeked behind the curtain of what's actually possible in terms of making obscene hooks, or is this like, out of this world content that for this one is, something else. And I feel like we haven't really gotten there yet. We can pitch or show, but clients have not really understood. So the one who really cracks that, formula to make something really appealing and that is, not just a live action, which I love it. That's why we do most of it, like live action looking ads. But there's something to be said about that where we're just at the threshold of, and maybe it's next year that maybe we'll see it. I mean, we have some opportunities like that, which is really, really fun. Or it's like what would cost a fortune with VFX and CGI. We can do a lot of heavy lifting with them, produce more quicker, because that's another thing. Like I love the Beeple quote about if you see AI as a way for humans to do less, you're scared of it. If you see AI as a way for humans to do more, you're kind of inspired by it. And that's kind of, is your creative glass half full or half empty? Well, mine is fucking overflowing. Like it's, I can do anything. Just like, I just don't have enough time. That's the issue. So we need, and what you said about volume is also important. I think that no one really knows how to price AI, right? Is it per second? But I mean, it's so much quicker than anything else, and it's so much easier to make iterations. So I do think there's something to be said about volume. Maybe that's going to be, we don't have like super, like defined contracts, because every pitch is different. Every client is different. I wish we had this like very clear cut agreements, and it's always this, and it's always 3 revisions, and it's always that, and maybe we'll get there next year. Right now, it's just like on a case by case basis, solving what the client wants at the highest quality possible. And that's how I think you also create meaningful relationships and makes repeat business. So you don't have to chase clients, to just not have one night stands all the time, but rather have those, fully fledged relationships. So
interesting. Like pricing is something that we've spoken about, and I also am conscious of time. I do want to make sure that we take a look at some other work, maybe have a bit of a deep dive into a project for a sneak peek behind the scenes kind of thing, and just show how you do your workflows. But last thing I'll say on this before we dive into that is pricing. When it comes to pricing, we have kind of broken it down to 3 pillars, and I want your opinion on this as to how you end up going about pricing. One pillar that we say is your time. How much time have you got at the moment? Are you brand new to the industry and you don't have many clients and you've got ample of time to deliver work to people, right? If your time currently isn't very competitive, then, that may factor your pricing. So the second one is just your raw creative, like how creative are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Like if there were 10 people or 10 creatives, let's say, creating something, who's just going to cut through the noise the most? And like for a lot of people, it's hard to identify that. Like you'll have some people who are just have this sheer creativity, like Simon Myers of the world, who are just unbelievably good, right? And you can just tell. And so that's another pillar. And the third one for us is technical ability. How technically good are you with the AI tools in terms of knowing and having an understanding of all of the different tools, strengths and weaknesses, video editing, technical ability, etc. So obviously, I think time as well with like deadline, obviously, like these kind of things are important. But like when you are pricing your work to clients, what are you thinking about that's going to factor the pricing? Do you ever think about licensing? Like what kind of things do you think about when it comes to trying to price something for a client?
Yeah, I mean, another rabbit hole, but let's sort of keep it kind of short and concise. But I love it. It's so good discussions to have. What do we think about? Well, so I never say yes to anything without seeing the script, because I want to make sure I can actually do the goddamn job. That's like number one. So we don't really have these like packages like 30-second always costs this, because we've been there, and oftentimes you shoot yourself in the foot and you end up in like a revision hell or various things. So we have a studio day rate. We have another day rate for myself only, depending on if we need a full team or if we only need me or what are we doing here. We always expense credits. Like we never charge clients for them unless it's some extremely, I don't know, out of this world scenario where that would be a factor. But otherwise, like we're in CPPs in most of the things, so credit is not an issue. And that might sound like very arrogant, but like you get there by doing good work, and then you're in the CPP, and then you make all good work and you stay in the CPP. It's you pay your dues basically. But it basically comes down to like time and complexity, and what we see scope. And scope can be, a 5-minute film is very different from a 30-second. Like, why do you even need a 5-minute film? Or like various localization. It can be, for example, it can be so many things. It's always like on a case-by-case basis. But I mean, when we go into a project, I can talk a little bit about maybe not the price, but how we thought about how to stay profitable is, I guess, too. But I mean, I fully agree. If you're just starting out, well, then you're just going to have to put in those hours, 10,000 hours to get really good. And that will only be what do you say, like it's called a flywheel that will just produce more and more and more and more, because at the end of the day, the time is the most important asset here. Like it's the number one thing. And that, when you're in a more fortunate position, you can outsource what you're not good at. So if you're not great at comfy UI, well, then you can take in that skill, or VFX or color grading. We buy those things, outsource them. I'm not a color grader, so I mean, I know kind of what I want, so I can instruct one. So you don't have to think. But when you're just starting out, you might have to, chill down on the what do you say, the value of your time to then become valuable. Like as you do more and more good work.
We always say pay to, make sure you're getting paid to learn, because a lot of people when they start, my philosophy is that like, sure, show them what you can do, like a potential client. And if you can get them into a contract before you think you're ready, like you can get the contract, deliver the work to the client, and actually just be like paid to learn, even if it's like your first project for $800, right? And it's a really small company, and you're just at that point, you are spending a couple of days working on a project and you're delivering it to a client, very quick, easy kind of piece of project. But like at that point, you're then being paid to learn and figure out new things. And that's a good starting block. We don't want to drive the prices of the industry down. And obviously, like for medium to large size businesses, they're always going to pay premium rates to cut through the noise. That will never change. But like, you should be being paid to learn in the industry at the moment, because there's a huge supply and demand issue at the moment, where there's a lot of demand for this kind of work and not a huge amount of supply of people who can actually deliver the work to the standard that clients require. But it's getting easier and easier. And on that note, I would love to have a look at some of maybe a quick peek behind the scenes of a project that you've worked on, and maybe
for sure.
Creative work begins with an idea. Luma turns that idea into a system, a multimodal engine that generates, evolves, and delivers your ideas at scale. Swap talent instantly. Explore looks, styles, and demographics while preserving true creative intent. shift locations with a single prompt. New environments, lighting, and mood. No sets. No reshoots. Capture polished hero moments. Beauty, lifestyle, performance. Rendered with precision every single time. Generate premium product cinematics with perfect lighting control. Consistent camera language. And frame-to-frame continuity. Create endless variations at scale. Colors, finishes, wardrobes, props, environments, and more. Localize instantly for any region. Adapt packaging, cultural cues, lighting styles, and creative details with complete control. Translate titles, subtitles, and claims in seconds. Output every format from a single pipeline. Social, digital, e-commerce, CRM, out of home, in a single workflow. Multiple models, multiple products, multiple markets. One unified creative system powered by multimodal AI. Creation at the speed of thought. Systems built for scale. This is Luma AI.
So this one was very much like around, so we have edited in the video, but it was around making a product-based, made-up product for their kind of push into getting more visible with agencies and approaching kind of commercial agencies in a more powerful way. So to say, they're doing a conscious stride there. So this is not posted anywhere yet, but you get like a little bit of a peek behind the scenes. So we were approached with kind of like a very high level brief. They needed a few characters with a few different kind of desired demographics, as you can see here, like African American, Caucasian, mixed race, etc. So we made like a casting for them, and these were the ones the client ended up choosing. So having like a mixed, and this I think is very much around another. I think people don't pay enough attention to what actually casting means, what you can do. You know, in the real world, you have like a casting director, or like an extraordinary amount of time goes into choosing like the right face that feels that is something. And I think a lot of people used to do Pretty Woman 30s, boop. And it's just such a lost opportunity, because like there's so much, like the quality of your film will just be so much more impactful if there's some level of interest in the face. And I guess that's partly subjective, but like not making them too pretty or too unrealistic, or the mid-journey pouty lips or whatever. Like there's a lot to be said there. But then what we did, and this was me and one assistant, mind you, over 1 week, so extremely fast project, is that we made up this product. They wanted some type of makeup product, so we made up a lipstick with actually inspired by the Luma logo, as you can.
I just noticed that. Yeah,
that was like a fun thing. So what we're doing here is that we're making the kind of puzzle pieces, like everything separate, so we then can leverage these as image references in Nano Banana Pro workflow. So this is actually, for context, for unreleased Luma product that is something akin to the more node-based or infinite canvas projects that we are familiar with. But where you will be able to use some of these things. But so then we ended up putting them in different environments. And I mean, here we come to like art direction and angles and stuff like that, just like showing the character flat from the front, just like that. It's kind of boring. So you have to find these, like the intersection where, where do you put the camera, although there is no camera, and how the lighting and the creating these like different environments for them. And we put a lot of effort into doing that. So, working with, different lenses and stuff that you can do much more easy now than ever, or having, seeing them through something, kind of peeking in, underneath like another table here, stuff like that. I think is so important. And playing with angles, coming in a little bit from above or going in close or coming from behind and going up. I mean, I always think like, if I would be there with the camera, what would I do? Like how would I kind of move around them and then try to replicate that as at the best way possible. So we had an extremely rapid process of fleshing this out, but we nailed it pretty early or like pretty quickly, in the sense that this was done over a week. But it's like finding the moments of them like putting out the product and engaging with the product. And I mean, this wouldn't even have been possible like 3 months ago or 4 months ago. This would have been an absolute pain doing. But I think it shows to the testament of where we are right now in what we can actually pull off. But this is also what made the cut. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of images were never and like they needed to mirror themselves somehow. So it's like finding those moments that feel real. So for the girl who works from home, for example, we had like lengthy discussions about like why it wouldn't really make sense for her to have like a pocket mirror. She's at home working from home. Well, how would she look at the lipstick? Well, it's through the FaceTime camera. So like finding there's a million little things like that. And then we did a bunch of pack shots and for a product that doesn't exist, but to kind of showcase this whole thing. But shadows, light, angles, all of it, that's how you have to play with it. And one of my favorite quotes from another kind of fashion designer, Joey Yamamoto, is like, in the beginning you copy, and in the copy you find yourself. Meaning, if you don't know how to do this, look at like a ton of work. Just start YouTubing ads, start YouTubing makeup ads. After you watch 25, you would kind of see, right, there's like a format to this, and you can start finding those angles and everything that leads up to it feeling like, you can speak that cinematic language. But like, there was such a big project that we knocked out really quickly, given for what it is, right? Do we want? I mean, it's like, please stop me. I'm just kind of rushing ahead.
So I want to touch on Milanote. We actually haven't done like a dedicated module on it, but we're going to quite shortly. And I kind of want you to just explain why you think Milanote is such a great tool and platform. And a bit of context for viewers is that this is Milanote. Like, this is basically where you can upload images, videos, and kind of consolidate everything all in one like infinite canvas. And do you want to explain kind of why you choose to use this and the advantages, really?
Yeah, sure. It's by far the best kind of infinite canvas tool, in the sense that you can throw anything at it: video, GIF, sound, images, and it sits right there. I've never, if you're on a free plan, I think there's some like limits, but like in essence, like unlimited storage. Like you can just chuck stuff up there and it works, and it plays seamlessly in the browser. So no more Google Drives. You can easily have a visual overview with clients, with your team, and just looking at options like seamlessly here, and it plays seamlessly. Miro doesn't do this. Figma Jam doesn't do this. So it's like it's truly the best, most easy, and it's just web-based. Just straight up there in the browser. You can leave comments. Now this is like a Milanote, but you can throw in a comment here, like love this, and then you can address the comment. It's just like everyone that I know of in the industry does Milanote, so it's very rapidly become a favorite. And if you work even with yourself, just to get approvals with the client, but even more so if you work with a team, to have just like one place, because the beauty is also, if you right click here and download, it's uncompressed. There's no compression happening here. You get the raw, fully upscaled file or whatever. Like there's no image or video compression. So gone are the days of sending over, I don't know, Discord or WhatsApp or whatever. So very, 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 very good tool.
Good. That's good to hear. Okay, cool. Mate, I'm conscious of time. Is there anything else that you would like to show? Are you happy with?
Yeah, I mean, I prepped a little bit ahead of time here, so I wanted to provide value and just kind of insights into this. So another recent project with this was with a brand called Storytel. And why I want to show this, the projects are also very, very different. The Luma we knocked out in like 7 days. This was over the course of a month. And we worked very, very heavily with the brand in-house team as well. So it's like very, very different projects in a sense, and showing how it could look. But I guess the common theme is that here we used Figma, but we could have used Milanote as well. But the client in this case wanted to use Figma. But again, you can I can send you the link for the actual project here if you want to show it. But it was this like 2-minute film for like internal event they had, and to kind of get their whole company together. And it was supposed to showcase like the power of stories. And we were very, very, very embedded with the team, like a brand designer, a copywriter, and again, the real, the challenge was like streamlining feedback and having everything here at once. So what we ended up doing was like actually creating a placeholder timeline of that. We wanted to show like a campfire, then this was supposed to happen, and then that was supposed to happen, and then we would chuck in lots and lots and lots of options underneath here, me and the team, to get the client's eye on everything from summer memories to these fantastical other things that was supposed to happen throughout the film. And you could very much kind of, in a somewhat minute way, really, really flesh out the film here. And then, that was the first VIP. Then there was the second one where we refined even more. And again, this is not pretty. This was, this is very, sausage in the making, very much just, actually how it's starting to get in brand colors. We started putting headphones on these historical, story characters here now. So the brand's color is orange, and they have this thing with the orange headphones that is like a brand thing. So like on a very, very, very minute level, we could be in here is like fast iterating with comments as we would then make out, because this obviously was an image to video workflow, to have that level of control. So like we were look deving this muffin dog to have it really in a funny way, because that was like part of it. And then eventually we ended up in the third whip, where it's a bit more defined as how we would want the storyboard to go. And I mean, this is how it can be, like super, super messy, but it works for us. Every project is super different, so we don't have like a defined, templated kind of process where things have to adhere to, because for us they're just so incredibly different in how. But this is just like how it can be behind the curtain a little bit, like the sausage in the making.
So for you, it's a lot of like what in this instance here, it was working with the client to come up with the imagery and work out that storyboard first. Once the storyboard was completed, you went into like video gen production, and then it went to post-production.
Something like that. Yes. Yes. I mean, a lot of back and forth in the edit, like it was actually AI music. So there was a whole process with music as well, which they wanted one thing and then they changed their mind and wanted another thing, as clients are. And it's their prerogative because they pay us. How to develop the voice, which they wanted this like kind of modern storyteller voice, which we of course did with 11 Labs. But, as far as that's a deep rabbit hole in its own, like how the voice sounds and what makes a voice compelling. I think that's another, if I'm gonna throw in another quote, like from Chris Do, who's like a design guy on YouTube, pretty big, but he said a designer's job is to notice things. And I think that goes, if you just remove designer and say creative, a creative's job is to notice things. Sound, music, voice, color grading, everything, all the little puzzle pieces. The devil is in the details, and it's a million of them. So that's just something I could throw in there. And that's what I just showed you, I guess, is a testament to that like, truly your job is to care about things. So please do. That's how you become successful, I suppose.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Chris is interesting. He's I'm going to be actually seeing him in Dubai in January. So in a couple of weeks, I'm actually going to be meeting up with him in Dubai, which is cool. But I think that the advertising industry, to kind of summarize everything, is in like a position right now where you as the viewer who is listening to this right now are in control of helping shape this industry. And there is so much opportunity out there. Don't be overwhelmed. It's very easy for me to say that, but like, how do you deal with, the last thing I kind of want to leave on is, how do you deal with the overwhelming industry? How do you deal with the fact that it's constantly changing, and this is like your life, this is your bread and butter, have a business around this. How do you deal with constant changes and that overwhelming feeling of trying to stay up to date?
Yeah, I mean, great question. And I mean, it's like, I typically, when I teach this, I give the advice to students to like, you don't need every tool, but you have to kind of find your core favorites, your core three. And that's your bread and butter. Like you said, 70-80% of your personal projects, client projects will probably be that. Nano Banana, VO, and Photoshop, whatever, or not, but like Gen, whatever, so some tool, doesn't matter. But then you also have to experiment, because all of a sudden something comes that just like changes the game, and you don't want to be. It goes fast. It's so incredibly fast. And it is, even for us doing this full time, it is difficult to keep up. But it's our job. But for anyone who might have they have this as a side gig, or they're working, I don't know, retail, and want to break into the industry. I do appreciate and sympathize with that. It is a little bit difficult, and I guess the other part of being overwhelmed, it's called analysis paralysis, very well known. And as creatives, there's also this thing called shiny object syndrome, that you go, oh, that looks amazing, but that also looks amazing, and that looks also amazing, and you end up kind of not doing anything. So I guess it's like you have to commit, and you have to do more than you think, and with that meaning, be more practical than sitting and thinking about what you're gonna do. So I make a ton of small projects all the time. Just stuff like this that I also end up sharing, so this is just like a little spec I'm working on for Instax. We don't have a relationship with them or anything, but it's just like a beautiful little thing that I think could be really, really compelling when if we do it right. Or another thing would be this, another little thing here that, again, just throw it up in Milanote, and you kind of have a world here. I'm just thinking about like these truckers who do these long haul rides, and having like, I don't know if it's going to play any music, but
no, sadly not.
Whatever. But like their lives and stories, and here centered around a certain unnamed brand as like the backbone of American infrastructure. There's just something there to me that feels compelling. And the key for me has been just like churning out these small projects all the time. Of course, you do client work, and then you're booked, and then you don't do something for a while. But like, just keep making. I think is key. And if it doesn't turn well, or if it doesn't work, just put it aside and go to something else. That's another thing I see people with students, they get stuck, and I'm like, okay, you want this car and it's supposed to do all these things. Simplify, because people don't see what you edit out, or the stuff people won't know about what your original thought was. For a lot of my stuff, like Snickers and other ads I made, or spec stuff, I had an original idea that didn't work, and then I had to adapt it and tweak it to do. Because as amazing as these tools are, a lot of stuff is still hard, and it doesn't go exactly as you plan. But that's the beauty, that there's no shot days, there's no set. You can just kind of refine this idea until it kind of becomes what you want it to be, so to say. Although it might not have been your original idea, but stuff happens like that in the real world as well, like actors improvising, or happy accidents in film. There's a million of them, or in advertising, graphic design, whatever stuff that by happenstance just ended up being better than your original idea sometimes.
Happy accidents are definitely like a big part of it, and I always find it, for me, a lot of my happy accidents come in sound design, when I'm just like trying to find an audio track, or if I'm trying to find a specific sound effect that I really want to include in a project, and while I'm looking for it and listening to a bunch of others, I'm like, oh, that's fucking golden. I would never have even heard of that sound effect, but it works somewhere else, and it's completely brilliant. And I think there's a lot of happy accidents that come in the creation process, and you're right, welcome those, and play into them, play into the strengths of the models, and play. I think play, create, and just put as much out there as you can. I think that's super important. Billy, where can people?
Yeah, sorry.
No.
I was just gonna riff on that. I know we're maybe out of time, but and I'm not sure if you actually mentioned it on podcast before, because I do watch it. I am in Gen Q, so you can say hi to me there. But the concept of ikigai, which is this Japanese concept, maybe you've talked about it, but it's like, this intersection of what you're good at, in the sense like your natural given right. I'm only good at creativity, like nothing else, like bookkeeping, I don't know, sports, not really, but like creativity, that's my thing. So like what your God-given rights are, or what do you say, skills are, what the market wants, or what the world wants, and then what you can be paid for, and what you enjoy doing. So what you're good at, what the world wants, what you have fun doing, the intersection, and where those circles overlap as a Venn diagram, that's your ikigai. That's your reason for being, as it's called in Japanese, or in kanji. So I think that's pretty powerful, and that really, it was actually Chris Doe who introduced, I saw it in some YouTube like 10 years ago or something. that really like, right. That makes a lot of sense. I think, and by finding that, well, people in the community have to do that work themselves, and that's, you know, part of growing up or part of maturing and part of life, I suppose. Like talk about copy stuff, and but like, just so copying and stealing are two different things, but or like you can be inspired by is what I mean by when I say copy, not copy. So yeah, something like that. Find the ikigai and make stuff. People can find me on LinkedIn, so I'm just called Billy Boman. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on billyboman.com, our new, relatively new website, which we had a lot of fun doing. And yeah, connect with me, shoot me a DM. I'm often busy, but I love to help if I can. So I've been part of this community since, you know, quite early on, so still am. And you know, happy to help any newcomers who are, you know, wanting to make their mark, so to say.
Billy, you are the man. Thank you very much, mate. We'll leave it there.